Equality versus equity. Equality means every child gets a pair of shoes. Equity means every child gets a pair of shoes that fit. That means every school district has to meet every student's individual needs.
I'm Jerry O'Green with the Black Student Advocate. We advocate for black employees and black students within the K-12 school districts. We hold school districts accountable to make sure that black students and employees are in a fair and equitable workplace.
What it do? Got caught up a little bit on guard. It is what it is. Hey man, welcome back to Humanity Works Podcast. My name is Jihad Messiah Youssef. Where we bring it sexy back to the everyday hardworking men and women who impact your life within close proximity. Hope your day is going good, man. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 commandments of women that constructive men need to avoid. First of all, always hit the like, share, and subscribe. Tell a problem solver to come on in. The algorithm is a little slow. Thank you for all my subscribers. Also, if you're on IG, Humanity Works Podcast is on IG, is a public page. And also, make sure you give me a like, share, and subscribe, and tell a problem solver to come on in. Well, I had to go ahead and do this one. You know, one thing that I tell you about this particular platform, I don't really do the love and relationship type thing. I don't want to talk about sex and marriage. I don't want to talk about what black men need to do, what black women need to do. I think it's a redundant conversation. I think it's truly retarded. I even had an individual suggest to me that, hey, you should do more things on relationships and between, men and women. And I'm like, why? You got 1,000 platforms out there talking about it. And recently, a young lady friend, she was just like, you know what? A lot of people need to hear your perspective on relationships. A lot of people need to hear your perspective on the subconscious mind and why we do some of the things that we do, particularly in the black community. I want this platform to be as universal as possible. And I tell you all the time, I'm not pro-black. However, my values, interests, and principles do align with original people, African Americans, Afro-Americans, Moorish Americans, whatever you want to refer to yourself as. My value still lies with the people who look like me. However, I need the platform to be universal because there's a lot of people in the world, and there's a lot of people who may have different skin tones, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different religions, but we all have a commonality when it comes to humanity and making it work and just impacting life and being the best people that we can be. However, today I'm going to kind of simmer in that lane just a little bit, right? And I can't remember what triggered this. Something triggered. Oh, I'll tell you what triggered it. Just a recent phone conversation with a young lady. And it was like one of the most toxic conversations I've had in a while. And, just looking at social media, when I'm outside shopping or whatever I'm doing, I'm just looking at the temperature of women today, right? Now, I'm not one of these people I'm not going to trash women. I'm not going to say, women are this, women are that. I'm not going to be talking about bitches and hoes. And, that's just not how I talk. And at the end of the day, regardless of what we agree or disagree with the behaviors of many women that we see nowadays, I mean, really nobody can criticize another individual. We all have our mess that we have to clean up around our front door, right? So basically, man, if you are a constructive individual, if you have goals, if you are driven, if you have plans, if you one day seek to have a family, if you want to be the best that you could be as an individual, this particular episode is for you. I say it all the time. Tomorrow I will be having on, earlier this evening, because this is kind of pre-recorded. Earlier this evening, I had on Arthur Royce Dixon Sr., and he talked a lot about the state of affairs with the black family, black marriages, as far as the decline, mental health in the black community. This is becoming a real reality. However, I tell people all the time, your purpose in life is not to come find love. At least that's what I think. That's what I feel. Right. The purpose of life is not to find love. It's not to, want to be just in, just relationships and booed up. Right. Man and woman are mate. Man don't live by bread alone. We must multiply. We will have families. But the biggest purpose of your life is for you to come here to solve problems and impact life with the gifts and the talents that God has given you while you exist in this physical realm. That's to me what the purpose of life is. However, it's a big thing within our community, and I guess people abroad, to want to be in a healthy relationship. Because let's just keep it a buck. If you meet somebody that's worth it, that's good to you, that's loyal to you, that honors you and value you, that's one of the greatest things to have in life, all the way up until your dying day. Because we know as we get older, our health will decline. Things will stop working. Bones will crack and hurt. You know what I mean? So, and we all deal with these type of health issues, and it's always good to have somebody just to walk through this life with. All right. So basically, man, right is wrong and wrong is like right when it comes to women and the dating scene. The truth of the matter is most women nowadays, they love the toxic fuckboy. They love the jail dude. They love the guy who's always, involved in the streets. They love the bad boy. And there's various reasons why. Now, I don't really care to go into the depths of why, but we don't want to talk about the why. Let's just focus on who we should avoid and why we should avoid these type of women. Because regardless, social media is going to always flood the most wrong women to deal with. They're going to flood the most toxic women, the most sexual women, the most, women who profane a lot, women who are naked, these rappers with the most ugliest, distasteful songs. You understand what I'm saying? These are the women that we're going to always see flash. You look on social media, they always got skits or they got some type of situation with women who are cheating, promiscuous, women who talk back to their men, women who even sometimes fight the man. That's not the type of woman we want to deal with today. And me, in my experience, man, of just having been in the dating scene and dealt with so many women, man, I've learned so much about women as far as what works for me and what won't work for me. So let's get into it. First woman we want to talk about, the clubber. Listen, man, I stop by a local joint every now and then, man, just to get me like a a turkey club sandwich. Just every now and then on a humbug. And there's a few places that I grace. And these are sports bars. However, these are the same women that I see all the time. Some of these women are even married. It's just like that old song Tupac said. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere we go, every video, you see the same hoes. It's almost like a real reality. And I'm thinking to myself, why would I take a woman seriously that I meet in the club when this is what she does 24/7 every single day? Why does a woman or individual want to be in the club every single day? Are you in search of a new reality? Are you looking for that baller? Do you think you're going to strike it one day? What is the purpose of a woman wanting to be on the scene every day? One thing that makes people valuable is when they don't see you, out of sight, out of mind. However, when I'm in a club, whenever I choose to go to a club, whether it's a family get together or a function, or I go to a sports bar and me and the fellas are watching football, the one thing I would never do in the club is take a woman seriously that I met in the club. It would never happen. In my mind, I would look at that woman more as a piece of meat, somebody to play around with, somebody to get with from time to time. But as far as like any real relationship, any type of real movement, that's never going to happen. Because, when you see this chick in the club every single day, 5 days a week, she always got on the latest gear, the latest shoes, earrings, hair always done. What is her purpose? She just likes to be acknowledged. She likes the attention. She likes to feel like, she's a somebody. It's just like that old show Cheers. You want to go where everybody knows your name and they always glad that you came. Now, who's to say people got things going on in their life? And sometimes I guess the club scene is what suffices for them to deal with whatever demons, whatever trauma that they may be dealing with or even setbacks in life. But however, man, this is the woman that you want to avoid, because if she's always in the club, how do you make time to build life? How do you all sit down and create a vision for what you want to do for your family and the path that you want to take your relationship in? Whether you want to start a business, whether you all want to travel, how can you build a successful relationship when you're dealing with a woman who always wants to be out on the scene? And many women are like this. Recently divorced women, they want to get out. They want to be seen. They want to be relevant again. They want to see if they can get it with the guys. A lot of these women are just getting away from motherhood, or they want to get away from career. But if you see a woman in the club every single day, that's a woman I would definitely stay away from, because the priority is for her to be seen and acknowledged, and for her to have a good time. She might be a drunk, who knows? But that's one woman that you want to stay away from. If that woman is in the club every day, that is a woman that you definitely most want to stay away from. Let's go to the next one. The dumb downer. The dumb downer is a woman who penalizes a man's intelligence level. There's a lot of women out there that say they want this in a man, they want that in a man, but when it comes to an exceedingly high level of intelligence, that man is either going to do one thing to that woman and make her feel either insecure, or she's going to feel like he's cocky, he's arrogant, or she's going to simply require him to dumb down. That's a little too much. Listen, I recently had a conversation with a young lady over the phone, and, you know, she talked all the good stuff, and I want the love story, and I want the fairy tale, and I want this, and I want that. But before we really got into details, she talked a lot about her ex-husband and how he changed and how he flipped and this, that, and the third. But she never took accountability for anything. So I asked the question, well, what is your plan? Were you perfect? You know, this man just up and changed on you. And so I continued to listen to her story. So then when we got deeper in the conversation, because, you know, I don't like small talk, and I'm not a simple guy. I actually let the hatchet down. And I just kind of dropped it on her like, yo, this is how I see life. This is what I live. These are some of the things that I think about. These are some of my values. These are some of the things that I cherish. And she just got quiet. She was like, okay, well, you know, do you have to really be, is life really that serious? Do you always have to be that deep? And I'm like, I don't think that was deep. I just think that's a common conversation. The problem, and especially in the black community, we have such primitive conversations, such baby-like conversations, such bland, monotonous, boring conversations that ain't talking about nothing outside the latest car, the latest clothes, where to go club, where to go vacation, you know, or whatever we got going on, because we're a very impulsive people. We always like to be on the move. We never really stop and take time to really sit and think. We never really take time to think deeper about life, deeper about your family, deeper about what the world is going to look like 30 years from now. You know, plans for your family. Where do you plan to be? Everything is just get up, go, eat, shit, sleep, and maybe a little bit of partying. But once you meet an individual that actually challenges you to think a little bit more about life, and you actually have some jewels to imply in the conversation, the average woman, and I can mainly speak for black women because I've never dated, you know, outside that perimeter, mainly most of them can't eat it. They're highly intimidated or turned off. They want a more simpler guy. That's why a lot of these women tell you like they son is like their husband, because that's a boy. He don't require much. He's a simple guy. She can read him, you know, she could dominate him. And see, a lot of times women really do want to treat a man like a boy. That is somebody they really want to enable, somebody they really, you know, kind of want to manipulate and control and monitor and kind of have a hedge on them here mentally. But when it comes to men who actually got some intelligence, it's got a lot of sense. Most of these women, these average women, are going to require you to dumb down. But then when it comes to life situations, and they meet a man that's dumbed down to their greasing and their fittings, they become frustrated with that man. You know why? Because that man is not a problem solver. That man is more emotional. He has no direction. He has no vision. He has no plan in sight to solve any problem that may come into play. But you wanted him to dumb down. And now all of a sudden, where the good men at? I need a strong man to lead me. But when the strong men show up, you tuck your tail and you really realize you're really not ready for that. So fellas, don't ever dumb yourself down for a woman who can't eat your level of intelligence. That's not for you to bear, because there are women out here who are craving true intelligence. And when you get a woman like that wants you to dumb down, subconsciously, she's a woman that wants you to make her your whole purpose for living. And let me add this in. Nobody should be your sole purpose for living, not another individual. Your sole purpose for living is to solve problems and impact life as it should be. All right, let's move on to the next one. The daddy issues. These are the women that you see with a lot of attitude. These are the women that kind of have the expectations and have the entitlement of men paying their bills. You know what I mean? Of men doing things for them because they didn't get these things from their father or a father as a girl. So now as they become a grown woman, they're looking for that compensation in grown men. I didn't get this from my father. I didn't get the masculine touch. I never walked down the sidewalk and held my father's hand to feel that masculine touch. I never seen my mama with a man in the house with a masculine energy fix anything. I never seen a man come in the house and help pay bills. I never seen a man come in the house to help provide. That's why a lot of them are walking around talking about black women aren't protected. But you choose these fuck niggas that are killing you. Let's just keep that a buck. We can't protect you based on who you're choosing. However, the daddy issues. And I would go on to add that these probably are some of the worst women to ever consider to marry. You can never satisfy this woman. You will never be enough for this woman because she didn't get it out the mud. She didn't get it out the gate. She knows nothing like what it's like to be in the presence of a good man, a masculine man at that. Most of them have been socially engineered to think that masculinity is toxic, which is like the biggest cap ever. And I know my partner say, man, stop talking like these young people, don't say cap. But it's like the biggest flex ever. And it absolutely makes no sense. So when you deal with a woman who didn't, because that's one of the things I ask a woman, hey, did you grow up with your father? and they tell me no, and I could just I could just smell the bitterness off their verbiage, off their tongue, off their whole attitude, just impatient. And I don't want no parts of it. But that one thing that I do notice, women who did grow up with a father, had a great relationship with a father, oh man, they get it. They're so I don't want to say submissive. You say submissive, boy, that's start a war. But they are very supportive. They are very understanding of what a man goes through. They are very kind. They're very patient, right? And they admire the men in their life that they deal with. Now, let me say this. Just because a woman grew up without a father does not mean she won't make a good wife. I always give shouts out. I remember one time I put a post up on social media and I was just dogging women out. And at that time, the team mom of the basketball team, I would go down and say she's the greatest team mom ever. And, my daughter's mother is a hell of a team mom as well, too. But she checked me. She was like, hold on, let me tell you something, coach. You're wrong. You know what I'm saying? She said, but it's daddy issues because I used to be that girl. And I'm grateful for the husband, the man that married her. He had the patience, the kindness, and the time to deal with her. And she's like one of the best women. Like, if I had to use her as an example of what kind of woman to look for, to take seriously, with all the qualities, she's it. But for her to be able to overcome those daddy issues, because most women don't, I highly admire that. And is in a healthy marriage, healthy relationship, beautiful children. But it was up until that point where I had to really slow down and be like, you know what? You can't paint every woman that grew up without a father with the same brush. So I don't ever want to make a generalized statement to where women who grew up without a father, that they're not good women to marry. There are some of them that are good women to marry. Matter of fact, sometimes just the absence of a man, makes them crave to want to be the best to have a good man when they get older to consider for marriage. So, but for the most part, when it comes to women with daddy issues, fellas, it's an absolute override. Access denied. Keep it moving. All right. The damaged, bruised, and bitter. Listen, another one. I talked to so many. Listen, I'm 50. And I'm telling you young guys now, this episode really is for you young guys that's looking to get married young, find you a good woman young. Because let me tell you something. I'm going to be completely transparent with you, right? I'm going to be completely transparent with you. Let me say this. If I could be completely transparent. When you get my age, there ain't nothing but trash out here. The thrift store. Trust me on that. These women that are bruised, battered, and damaged, they come from bad relationships. Simply because they were with a man who say they saw the potential. They ignored the red flags. And they did this for years. And then they have that one child. And then they have 2 children. And they have 3 or 4. And they realize this man is not responsible. They realize this man is very verbally abusive. They realize this man is a cheater. They realize this man doesn't want to work. But they fallen in love with this man. Because typically guys like this, they pretty much got the good bed game, and so they say. And it's hard to make that breakaway. You understand what I'm saying? If a woman is damaged, it is not your job to be Dr. Phil. You are not a therapist. And I'll tell any woman who's dealing with bitterness and who is damaged, and a lot of times they'll all say they're not damaged. They're damaged. And I let them know right now, I don't want no parts of that. I can't compete with that. It's not my job to heal you. Now, you get some people that say, if you was a real man would take his time and he'll help that woman get to where she want to be. You got me fucked up. No, I'm a real man that's going to make a real smart decision and allow that woman to heal her own damn self. Don't call me, call Jesus, right? That's where you go. You don't come to me. And a lot of times, because what I've seen, and this has happened to me, you stick by a bruised, damaged, and bitter woman, mainly by ex-husband or her baby's father. When that woman really starts to get a sense of healing, when life starts to make sense to her again, and she becomes happy, you are going to be the one she shits on. You've been there the whole time. You're a normal reality. You're not exciting. You was the doctor. Now she's back out. Now she wants to be prevalent amongst men again because she's healed. She feel like she knows what type of man she's looking for. Now, again, not all damaged women, not all bitter women, right? But the majority of them, listen, that is a no-go. You don't have time to sit back and wait for this woman to heal herself, right? But let me say this too, that if you don't find you a good woman young, it's best to find your wife, your lady, young, because when you get this age, it's all trash. They're going to hold you in accountability. They didn't hold the fuck nigga at or the fuck boy. They're going to hold you at a standard that they didn't hold the guy that damaged them at. That's not fair to you. Especially when you come complete, whole, and healed as a man. That is not fair to you. There will be a level of accountability that is almost humanly impossible to fulfill and to keep satisfied at all times. So if that woman is bruised, damaged, bitter, mad at her baby daddy, listen. And when I get with a woman that's got kids, because I never tripped off that stuff whether a woman had kids or not. But once I start to talk about a woman and ask her past with her baby daddy, and she say, oh, I can't stand him, I hate him, he get on my nerves. Yo, leave her the fuck alone, because that man still has that woman wrapped around her finger. When you can go around, if she can go around her children's father and they can conduct like best of friends, first of all, don't look at that like they still fucking around. Don't be that simple, because there are people out here who can co-parent and get along with the mother and or father of their child. You got to look at that as a win, because that means she's at peace. She ain't tripping off buddy. But if she got issues and get mad and always talking about him, you leave her alone. Secondly, I always tell people, according to the code, because everything with this platform still is based by the counter racist compensatory code, the honorary works of Neely Fuller Jr. Ask questions, right? When you first meet a woman, you ask questions. A lot of them will be short, kind of like shy like. But if you ask her about her past relationships, just be quiet. If that woman talks for over 5 minutes without stopping, she is damaged. Trust me on that, bro. I've been around this thing a long time, and I've subconsciously studied the subconscious mind. The one thing that I learned, I read the book Knowledge of Self, written by Supreme Understanding of Law, years ago. He was talking about the 5 stages of the mind, which is the conscious, the subconscious, the infinite. I think it's the super and magnetic, the 5 stages of the mind. The subconscious mind is the most powerful of them all. So what I'm saying is, when a woman got a lot to say about past relationships and this and the third, that is still a damaged individual. Please, by all means, my guy, please move on. Next, the self-centered, self-righteous chick. This is a chick who is all about me. What can you do for me? This is the woman who's going to sell herself as this supreme, superior, this new form of brand of love, but it's only for the purpose for you to be the perfect human being in her life that she needs. Her needs must be met before yours. She must be considered before you. You understand? And she figures, like, if she has any type of looks to her, if she has anything going for her, it's going to be all about her. Everything is going to be dedicated to her physical appearance, to her alter ego, whatever the case may be. Self-centered and self-righteousness, meaning that this woman, in her own eyes, she's never done no wrong. It's always been you. Or as they say, like, gaslighting, gonna make you seem like you're crazy. And most of the time, self-centered, self-righteous women, they're kind of like the lookers. They kind of like got that body. You understand what I'm saying? They're kind of like, ooh, I said it. I was doing good up until that point. They're probably like the type of woman that she knows she can have any man. Men are probably always at her, right? She's gonna put a pressure on you because she thinks so highly of herself, and that her shit don't stink. She's going to be so self-centered, so self-righteous that you will never be in a mix. In other words, in order for a man to get along with this woman, you will have to be an absolute complete beta male. And I'm one of those people that think there ain't nothing wrong with a beta male. Honestly, if my daughters get married, I'd rather them be with a beta male than an alpha male. There's a lot of things about me as a father that I wanted my daughters to look at and see an example of a man between me, their grandfather, their uncles, and their cousins. But there's a lot of things about me, like, I don't want my daughter to have to deal with a guy like me. I'm just being transparent, and I'm just being honest. So I don't really necessarily have a problem with beta males. You know what I'm saying? Beta males are needed. Beta males ain't necessarily a bad thing, right? But stay away from that self-centered, that self-righteous woman, that woman with that ego that just knows she gonna have a man. Niggas want her. They want me. No, fuck that. Get away from that type of woman ASAP, right? And she's always gonna tell you how you ain't loving her right. You don't ever do this. This is the type of woman that if she does something for you, she's going to want you to do something triple fold, and she's going to let you know if you don't live up to the standard. So, fellas, please, the self-righteous, self-centered woman, get the hell away from. And you will know them by their ego. I'm going to say it again. When it comes to self-righteous and self-centered women, you will know them by their ego. Flat out. All right? The next one. The holy roller. Now, I come from a spiritual family. I come from a religious background, right? The kind of women that I grew up with who are in the church and spiritual, this don't apply to them. And I'm going to tell you why. They're going to just say, oh, you just saying it because that's your family and your cousins and your aunts. I'm going to tell you why. Because they love the Lord, but they still love their husband. These holy rollers nowadays, a lot of these women, they enter church to try to sing like or come off or give an appearance or an air of like they're this upper echelon of woman because they got a relationship with Jesus. They got a relationship with Christ. And you see it all the time. You must love the Lord to love me. You must be a God-fearing man to be with me. But let me tell you where the problem lies. There's a mental illness with this. There's a double standard because they love King Jesus, right? But Jesus is immaterial, not even a physical being. I guess once walked the earth, right? They know you're going to be held in an account that they're not going to hold Jesus at. And Jesus is they've never met Jesus, right? What they're saying, they say in church, it may not come when you want it, but it's right on time. Let your ass come late with the child support payment. Let your ass come late with a bill. You will be highly criticized. And see, the thing about it is when I say it's a mental illness, women who are holy rollers, they submit to a spirit, but will not submit to the physical man and physical reality they see every day. The crazy thing behind it is the Bible says, how can you love me who you've never seen and hate the very man that you see every day? The truth ain't in you. So when you deal with the holy roller, sometimes logic don't always set in. Just like a lot of women that are religious women, they say, he find it a wife, find it a good thing. And then you ask them, what is marriage? Marriage is this, that, and the third, and you sign a legal document. That's not marriage. Do you know the origin of marriage and where it came from? But because they're so locked in religion, they're locked in tradition, they're locked into what Big Mama taught them, they have absolutely no balance for real life to make real decisions. My mother, I grew up in the church where my mama loved the Lord and loves God, but she loved my daddy. All my aunts, I wish all my aunts, you know what I'm saying? Great women of God, but they still love their husband. There was still a lot of decisions made on the logical side of life. So you must watch these holy rollers, especially those who make the church their whole life. Young lady I was dealing with, the first thing she always want to talk about is pastor this, pastor said that, pastor this, pastor said that. Well, how about pastor come here and pay some goddamn bills? Excuse my French. Tell your pastor to come here and do this and that and the third. And that's something that I learned from Victor Curry years ago, who used to be affiliated with New Birth out of Miami. Victor Curry is one of the flyest ministers I've ever seen in my life. And I haven't seen him since a revival years ago in St. Louis. But he told the women that night in revival, he said, why do y'all go home and tell y'all husband everything I talked about in the word? And then when I see your husband, he mean mugging me. It was like so cool and dope for him to break that down like that. But them holy rollers, they don't have the logical mind. They don't have the analytical mind to have to deal with real life. Everything is based on what God said, One of the women that I've crossed paths with in the dating pool when I was out there, right? Where the mental illness of the religious minded woman got her, in my opinion. The doctors told her years ago, your children may be challenged. They may not have a natural life. They may not be what you think they want them to be. And they warned her, just letting you know, this is a loaded lifestyle. Are you prepared for it? She told the doctors, that's not what God told me. And so the babies came, and it was just as what the doctor said. Now, we know the doctors are not always right? We know the doctors are not all right. But this was clear evidence that you're going to put these children in a life that may not be the best. And so now these days, she deals with a lot of pressure. Ran the husband off, trying to get out there on the dating scene. You can't force men to be a part of a lifestyle they did not ask for. And you didn't even have to be in that situation if you'd have just used your logical mind, got over your emotions and the arrogance of what God told you, because obviously it was wrong. So with that being said, and it's a harsh reality. With that being said, when it comes to the religious holy roller woman, you're dealing with a woman that's on the arrogance of spirituality that don't have any real context to logic. God gave man a brain, but very few people use the mind. I want you to keep that thought. All right. So when it comes to them holy roller women that require you to know the Lord and love Jesus, make sure they get to know you and understand you. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have. It's good to have a God-fearing woman in your life. There are plenty of great God-fearing women in your life, but with context. They have context. They are analytical. They're logical. They're real. OK, but you get them holy rollers that God this and God that, and that's all they know, and they got a one-track mind. It will frustrate you. All right. Especially when they put an accountability on you that they won't put on Jesus. I always said that if most black women met Jesus, then they would begin to dislike her because they will begin to see in their mind where he's wrong or where he's right, what he did wrong, what he did right. But because you don't know people, that's what makes people such a love. It's when you're not around them often, you love them so much because you don't see them at all, right? Your distant cousin you love because you don't hardly see him at all. It's the same thing, right? Close proximity sometimes diminishes the respect another person can have for another individual, all right? Let's move on to the next one. Oh, my God. The proudly educated. My homeboy said the hardest people to love is an educated nigga, and I would have to agree. I cannot begin to count on one hand how many educated black women I've met who are completely retarded. They have all the education in the world. They brag about all this, but they're the worst mothers. Their houses are dirty. You know what I mean? They don't have real good relationships within family. They can't solve simple problems, simple every situational problems, but they love that degree. And I'm gonna tell you another thing: if you have a woman who's very proud of her education, and let's just say you don't have a college degree or nothing in your belt, she is not going to follow your leadership. She is not going to follow your lead. There are women, again, not all, right? I don't want to make the sweeping indictment of all educated women being that arrogant and that retarded and stupid, but the majority of them are. So when you're dealing with a woman that's educated, she feels in order for you to be on her level, you must be as educated. In other words, you need that little board with the leather covering with a European signature on it that says, okay, you have a body of information that you retain. Now you're viable and marketable to society for somebody to offer you a job, right? But some of the most intelligent men, some of them are multimillionaires, didn't even finish school, right? Because it ain't about being educated. It's about being intelligent. It's about being wise. And you can't get that in a degree. Now, again, I'm not knocking anybody for getting education and getting information. This is a must. We need people out there with the proper information, proper certification. I'm not one of these people who down people who do have college credit, because I admire and I will celebrate any person who dedicates the time to go to school for years on in, years on out. And that's something they can be proud of. However, put it in proper context. You're educated, so what? Are you a good mother? Are you a great lover? Do you respond to problems? Because there's a lot of educated women I know that take prescription pills just to maintain. So how educated are you? We can't always brag about being educated, and we can't even solve the simple problems in our community. How educated are you? So when it comes to them educated women, fellas, the choice is yours. But in my mind, I would say it's a no-go. Unless that woman, because there are a lot of women that have more education than their husband, the father of their children, or the man of their lives, and they are just humble, supportive, submissive. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody play their part. I said it again. You know what I'm saying? I was doing good up to that part. So that's something to be mindful of, is that educated woman. And they're going to let you know, are you professional? I'm around professional. I seen a woman say, well, I don't want you around. You're going to embarrass me in a professional environment. Some women think that because, a man is, again, a lot of women. I had this talk with my daughter's mom one time because I kind of got jazzed up. She was like, it's about time you start looking like a man. I'm like, girl, stop the cap. A man is not based on his education level. A man is not based on his financial status. And just because a man throw on a blazer, some slacks, a button down, a tie, and a fedora, that ain't a man. That's just a nice presentation. But that ain't got nothing to do with being a man. The ultimate problem solvers in the world don't have education or college degrees. They don't walk around in hard bottoms and slacks. Yeah, yes, you should have this in your closet to be presentable in certain environments. But what exactly is professional? Based on whose standard, according to what culture, right? So when it comes to that educated woman, fellas, be careful, be mindful, and it's probably override. All right, here we go. This is a phrase that I coined. I'm taking credit for this. The Jenny. One will ask himself, what is the Jenny? The Jenny is that woman. Let's just be real. That bad bitch. That's what she calls herself. In her 20s, in her 30s, right? She wanted all the incentives of her beauty. She wanted to take advantage of everything that Tricks wanted to give her and offer her, whether it be trips, whether it be just gifts and jewelry and cars, and she has her pick of the litter. You know what I'm saying? She's man in, man out, right? Kind of like the character from the movie Forrest Gump, which is where I got the inspiration for this particular phrase. You know, Jenny in there, you know, she knew Forrest Gump since they was kids, but she had daddy issues. I guess the daddy molested her and touched her. You know, the movie didn't really imply, it implied something with her father. And what did she do? Her whole life, she was in them streets. She was always with one guy, in with one and out with the other. You know, got caught up in drugs, was dealing with the Black Power movement and the anti-war. And she was just out there dating different guys. And, you know, Forrest loved her, you know, running up on her, having sex in cars with guys. You know what I'm saying? But she was always in them streets the majority of her life. She never settled down. Because, see, Jenny, I guess she was, you know, she was a beautiful woman. Men found favor in her. Men wanted to be with her. Men, you know, in and out of different relationships. But when she got older and she got sick with cancer and was about to die, then she brought it all home. Then she wanted to get married. Then they had a baby. And then Jenny died. Now, Jenny ain't necessarily pointing to the health. But Jenny are all these quote unquote bad bitches who are hitting their 50s, their 60s. They getting bad reports from the doctor. Them titties is dropping. The ass ain't the same no more. The sprinkles are starting to set in. Now you ain't the pick of the litter no more. Now you're not even relevant to the guys no more. Now you want to look for that sucker to say, I want more and I want to make every day count. Ladies and gentlemen, mainly the gentlemen, that is a Jenny. If you run into this type of woman, absolutely block, alt, delete, whatever, walk away. I met a woman one time, 55 years old. The woman is beautiful, very curvaceous. I've seen her throughout the years since I've been here in Atlanta. Never speak to her. You know what I'm saying? I don't pursue women, right? That's a whole nother show. So me and her finally, we crossed paths one night when I was at basketball league, and my guy Body by Ted was going on up there at ISA on Memorial Drive. We got to talking. We always seen each other. We made eye contact. So we exchanged numbers. Now she's bigger, gained more weight. You know, I could see some of her looks diminishing or whatever. I wasn't finna take this woman seriously. So we finally talked. For that woman to tell me that she never met a good man to marry in 55 years of living, I hung up the phone and I blocked her. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the highest form of mental illness. 55 years old and you never met a good man. You full of shit. Sorry. And any woman out here watching this show that agree with that or thinks that or says the same thing, something is really, truly the fuck wrong with you. Because I ain't finna sit up here and tell you I ain't met good women. If I'm not in the situation that I want to be in, that is strictly on me, and I'm going to bite that bullet. So if I never find anything good that I've crossed in the path, that's on me. I'm not finna go out here and talk about women this and women that. No, I've met plenty of good women, right? So a lot of times what I'm saying about a lot of women, you know, I probably was that guy on the male aspect of it. You know, I ain't always been, you know, who I am today. But one thing I ain't never been is a fuck boy. I ain't never been abusive. I ain't never, you know, I ain't do none of that bullshit, okay? But I ain't always been who I am today. I've had my issues. But that's the Jenny. When you see these old ass chicks who done lost their touch and all of a sudden they want to settle down, ladies and brothers, at my age, I'm 55 and older, that's a Jenny. Don't you dare go put no damn ring on that woman's finger. No. Let her bad bitch on into her demise. Stand on your square. Whatever you want to be in life, stand on your square. A lot of times, you know, I'm 50. But, you know, there's women right now in my life who are favorable that I can look upon like, you know what? I'm going to marry this woman. I can marry this woman tomorrow. Right? And then a lot of times, you know, we talk about people our age and you see these dumbass like, I just want to take my time. There's no need to rush. Hey, do you realize you got more years behind you than in front of you with your jackass? You 59, 60 years old talking about you want to wait, take your time. Like you got 3 years of life left. Like what the hell are you waiting for? You don't have the right to be picky, lady. You got to get this bullshit. It's like, I don't have a right to be picky. I have to take the bullshit that's left around our age because this is really the thrift store. I don't care what nobody say. But some people be like, you can get married when you're 65. Get the fuck out of here, man. For real. Moving on to the next one, man. Now, this is an honorable mention. This is the unwed sports mom. Fellas, I'm telling you right now, if it's anybody you cannot trust out of all the women I told you to avoid, this is the one. I'm a coach. I've been coaching 20 some years plus, right? Let me tell you. And it's scientific, because anytime a man pours into a child of a woman who is an unwed woman with no man in her life, that man becomes attractive to her, right? And we're adults. They're going to be attracted to one another. Adults are going to get together. Adults are going to have sex. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Everything in context. But you got to understand, if this woman is an unwed sports mama, whether she have 1 child, 2 child, 3 children, you have to understand her main outlet, her main environment on an everyday basis is going to be with coaches, men, other fathers. You know what I mean? Men that they might find. They might find another man attractive. He might be a single dad, got a kid on the team. They're always around these people. So if relationships develop, feelings develop. And if you try to date a sports mom and you don't have a child by this woman, guess what? You will never be a priority. And don't let this woman's child be a star, 5-star athlete, 4-star athlete. That is her meal ticket. That's her man. That's her priority. If you was laying in your hospital room, if you was on your deathbed in the hospital and y'all was in a relationship and her kid got a big time game, you best believe she gonna be on the sideline cheering her kid on. There's nothing wrong with that. You ain't gonna be shit to her. And I'm telling you right now, if it's one woman that you never trust, it's a unwed sports mother. Because I'm telling you right now, and coaches can agree, and other women can agree, because we've all been there. And I'm guilty of having had dealings with a mother. I am. Okay, I ain't finna sit up and act like I haven't, but it was in context, and the woman was not married and had a boyfriend, but things happen. But they're fucking that coach or another daddy from that team. It's just like that because that's the majority of their life every day. So you got to be mindful of that unwed sports mama. Now, unless y'all got something so real and you love those kids and those kids love you and you're a part of this kid's journey, that's something that's different. But as far as that unwed sports mama, that's a snake in the grass. That's one you have to watch, and that's one you cannot trust. Take it from me. I'm a coach. I know. Listen, my daughter's mama is the best woman I ever met in my life. And I coach my cousin's kickball team. I love coaching. So I don't know nothing about kickball, but I remember when I coached that team. And the craziest thing to me was my daughter's mother's stomach was big as hell. I think Tiffany was like 8 months. And those women were still trying to get with me behind her back. Now, if I was a straight up messed up dude, if I didn't have no culture, if I didn't have a conscience, I would have fed into that bullshit with them chicks. But I did not. But it just blew my mind. Like, she's right there teaching y'all how to play the game of kickball, and here it is trying to get with me behind her back. Or whenever she didn't come to practice because a lot of times she couldn't make that ride. Oh, it was bad. It was horrible. You know what I'm saying? Getting relaxed and coming over like, yo, what you doing? Stand your ass up. Get off my car. I don't have to hug you. Good practice. I'll see you on game day. Like, do y'all not realize, man, my daughter's mother's right out here with her stomach, and she's showing y'all how to play kickball because she come from a championship team. I'm telling y'all, sports is wild. Sports is a serious outlet, ladies and gentlemen. But that unwed sports mama, fellas, I'm telling you right now, on the weekends, she ain't answering that phone, or she gonna claim she had a bad signal where they was. Nah, she was sitting next to Boo Daddy. Or she was with that coach running errands for the. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's really serious, man. So I saved the best for last. And you also be typical. This one should not rattle you too much. But the last one that you should avoid, the social media attention chick. The worst. The absolute worst. The problem of it is you tricks, you dudes, you suckers are out here hitting these likes on they thread. Hey boo, wifey, DM me. Y'all the reasons why they exist. A virus needs a host. And you tricks, you suck ass for love guys. Y'all keep these type of women alive. Y'all keep them relevant. Do you know, if you deal with a woman who's on social media every day, taking selfies every single day, that's her man. I always say there's a man that most black women ain't gonna never cheat on, and that's social media. Attention whores are absolutely the worst shit ever that I've ever seen. You know, you see these videos on Instagram and Facebook, and you hear a caption, somebody gonna look at me and want me, and I'm gonna be the best I'm gonna be and live my life like I'm golden, or it's self-love, and they walking down half-ass naked. Or you see these chicks in the gym doing workouts with the camera on their ass. Or they be saying some stupid shit or trying to say, quote, Bible scriptures, walking on the beach half-ass naked. Or got somebody holding the camera watching them walk down the block just to show they ass. Or like some chick I seen today celebrating the Philadelphia Eagles win. She actually told somebody to hold the camera while she act a fool, jump up and down to plop her titties and show her big ass, right? All for the sake of attention and likes. Attention is a hell of a drug. And if you're women who like attention, period, I'm telling you right now, it is an absolute no. No, 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 no. Because guess what? It's just like the bad bitch. Women who have good looks and ass and body, they want the incentive. They want the attention. Everybody that's human and alive wants to be acknowledged, but they have to have it. Do you know what it's like to have 100, 200, 300 people hit your DMs every day? Because they are fond of you, they find you attractive, and you got this one boring ass dude. That's how I'm telling you, in their mind, I'm with this one boring ass dude. You know, most of these guys that fuck with these women on social media every day, they can't even see the writing on the wall. Right now, you make sense to her. Right now, your money's long. Right now, you're in good health. Right now, your car runs. Right now, you have a job. Lose any of that and watch this woman start entertaining them DMs. Watch her start posting hype, like going hyper speed with posts. And you post all this shit for what? Just for somebody to look at you? That's so stupid to me. What is your purpose for life besides getting in front of a camera and wanting the world to know that you think highly of yourself, that you're a bad bitch, you're beautiful, you keep your hair done, your nails, you got a big booty. Everybody taking these little, these videos where they hold the camera up and they flop with their hair, and people just sit there and watch this corny shit. The absolute worst woman a man could be caught up with is a one who is addicted to social media attention. My guy, young boy. Don't consider to marry no woman that you dealing with that's a social media attention freak, addict, whore, whatever you want to call them. Just give them what they want. They want the attention. Fuck them and get up. That's my advice. But don't you ever take a woman like that serious enough to be in a relationship, to make children with, somebody that you think that's going to give you support on a highly intelligent level. No, I was in the gym today. Literally on my daughter. A woman I used to follow before I just, because I'm a man, I still like to look at ass. I like to look at a nice legs and curvaceous woman. And I like to, and somebody I followed almost a year ago was in there working out. Somebody who I just looked upon as a complete idiot. In there working out, of course, I don't know if that was her bodyguard, her guy, her dude, but he was muscle bound, good fit. Brother was fit, had the camera on him. All he was shooting was the ass. And I'm like, and it got to the point to where she came in the station that was close to me. I not once ever made eye contact. It was nothing about her impressive. It was nothing about that booty that would impress me or wanted me to go wild or to go take herself in the picture. Because if I walked up to this woman and offered her and submitted to her, hey man, let's talk about real life. I'm dealing with some situations. Let's talk about real life. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, women like her and abroad don't have shit to offer to the table. Nothing. Absolutely some of the simplest minds you will ever meet. But they got a big ass. But they got a following. They got 50,000 followers. For what? Just for somebody to look at and be like, ooh, look at her booty. Look at her butt. Like, are we really that simple of a people? Like, was social media made for black people to use like a toy, to occupy us like toys? Because I always say powerless people only have one presentation to the world, and that's their physical realities. And that's the one thing we harp on. That's why we spend trillions of dollars on hair care products, skin products, cars, clothes. We want to be acknowledged. We want to be looked at. But fellas, if you're dealing with that woman that can't stay off of Instagram and Facebook and always putting that on TikTok and got to put that ass out there and, and acting like she living her best life and acting like she really adding to humanity and thanking her fans and, somebody, give me their DM, I'll give you $100 or go to my OnlyFans. Like, how the fuck does this shit exist? And I can't really even blame the women, because if y'all stupid enough to trick like that, then they gonna continue to be stupid enough to get in front of that camera to arouse your loins. But they ain't arousing your intellect. And that's why I don't understand why y'all even do the stuff that y'all do. Anyway, man, I didn't really mean to go this long, but I know anytime we talk about these type of issues, it's pretty loaded. I try to get as much information out as much as I can. Hey, listen, I've always enjoyed those who've been supporting the podcast, supporting the platform. It's slow motion, but I'm gonna continue to keep doing it. The subscribers, I don't even think I'm over 300 yet, but for those of you who subscribe, the 239, 200, I don't know what the count is right now, but hey, listen, I thank you, I salute you, I honor you, and I value you. This is the place where we bring it sexy back to the everyday hardworking men and women who impact your life within close proximity. We want to rise above this madness, which is called black culture. And I submit to you, man, that all of us want to have somebody work quality in our life. All of us do. And I admire those who work on themselves, those who can transcend a different level of mind to obtain the things that they want in life. All right. It's all about healing, ladies and gentlemen. I want this community. I want us to come back to loving one another. And I'll say this, like I said, earlier tonight, I had on Brother Royce Dixon Sr. I'm going to feature married people. Married people to me are elite. One of the most courageous decisions anybody can make in their life. And I'm a child of a product of a 50-year plus marriage, 51, 52 years. My mother been together. My two younger brothers been together, siblings. The most selfless decision you can make is to walk through life accepting another individual's flaws, the vulnerability of having to trust them, the vulnerability of having to believe in them that they will have your best interest, the vulnerability of uncertainty, not to know what the years provide moving forward, where it goes through sickness and health, for better or for worse. My mother took to a stroke. My father never left my mother's side. And those are the type of people that we want to look for in life. But in today's society, it's quite challenging because now people have put physical realities, social engineering, and selfishness as the forefront of their physical reality as an existence in this world. And therefore, we're challenging to meet quality relationships. We are challenged to love one another properly without Eurocentric values. You understand what I'm saying? So I submit to you, become selfless, because you ain't going to be young forever, young man. You ain't going to be young forever, young lady. Things do change. Our health is going to change. Our look is going to change. Our financial status is going to change. It's going to be up and down. Let's not even play games with life. Let's enjoy it. Everything in the universe has an opposite and direct duality and a polarity. Sun can't exist without the moon. Nighttime can't exist without daytime. Hate can never exist without love. Good can never exist without evil. We need one another. Let's bring the community back together. Because there were some sisters in the 70s, in my mom and them era, in the 60s, they were beautiful. They were gorgeous. They didn't have a lot of they didn't have all these long ass eyelashes. They had froze. They didn't have a lot of makeup on. They wore makeup, right? They wasn't half-ass dressed out in the streets. They loved their guys. And I'm not saying that you didn't have those in every generation. Women love attention naturally. But there's a way to put a cap on it. I really do admire women who make the decision to marry a man and become so selfless. And I really do admire every man, young man and older, who married. That's the most selfless decision you can make. You have my forever respect and admiration. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, be great. And I'll say this to you. The biggest mistake that you could ever make, is to think that you have time. Peace.